I've said it many times, I know. I would change my ways, I know for sure. When all the crows decide to meet, they settle down beneath my feet. I've got it right and I got it wrong, but I learned my lesson hanging on. Come sit here with me by the fire and let it go for a little while. So be here as the night starts falling. Let my fingers walk over your head. We got nothing to be scared of. I'd rather be with you than by myself. Now all is in your hand.
Shalom. In today's video, we're going to talk about the dangers of comparison and comparing yourself to others, but we're going to do it while exploring the Highline Park in New York City. Highline is one of my favorite parks because it is right on the water. It has greenery. It's elevated off of the street, and for me, most importantly, it's surrounded by some amazing buildings and architecture. So if you're visiting New York City, I would highly recommend coming to the Highline and just walking the whole thing. But maybe don't do it on Saturday. That is what we're doing right now. And you basically just have to walk in a single file line like a herd of cattle. Just no enjoying, no relaxation.
Not quite as fun.
Yes.
But still beautiful.
This is definitely not a hidden gym. It is a gym, but it's not hidden. So let's talk about comparison. I think the reason we want to talk about comparison is because it's something that every single one of us do, and it's so hard to not look at what other people are doing, especially in this day and age of social media, to like scroll through these feeds and see what everybody else is doing and comparing yourself to everybody else's story, and to like just jump in and give you the best soundbite possible. The main thing I think we all have to remember is we have to stop comparing our beginning or our middle to somebody else's end. There's just such a danger in looking at what other people are posting or what other people are doing or what other people have done and be like, well, I'm not as good as that. I don't get to travel as much. My art isn't as great as theirs, whatever it is. But what we fail to do is to compare what the journey was like for those people compared to yours. You may be at the very beginning of your journey and they're at, year 49 of their journey. But so it's not fair to compare where they're at to where you're at because you're on a completely different step of the journey.
And also, like, every person is different. So that means every journey is going to be different. So, like, you can't look at someone and say, like, oh, I want to be where they are, so I'm going to do what they do and get there. Like, it doesn't work like that because you're a completely different person than they are. So, like, your journey is going to be completely different. I think along the same lines as that is making sure not to compare your social media life with somebody else's social media life, because if you sit and think about it for a second, they're literally only posting the best photos, the best videos, the 30-second highlights of their day.
Yeah.
So everyone else is sitting in a room working for 8+ hours a day, just like you are. It just doesn't look like that.
Yeah. I mean, it's the same thing with comparing your beginning with somebody else's end.
Yeah.
You're comparing somebody else's highlight reel with your reality.
Right. And their reality looks just like yours.
Yes. It's like we all put out this highlight reel on social media and then we compare our regular life while we're sitting, because whenever we're living our highlights, we're not scrolling social media.
Right. Right. We're only scrolling social media when we're bored or at home or whatever it is, and like that's not it's just not indicative of true life.
Right.
And also a thing that this may have nothing to do with it, but a thing that always helps me remember that everyone is just a person, just like you are, is that even famous people, even celebrities, have to take out the trash and have to do their own laundry and, you know, things that are like not glamorous. We all have to do it. You just don't see it on social media. Yeah, so I think just like not comparing what someone is posting to your life is really, really key and important, because it's just not the truth.
And that's just so important for our mental health.
Oh, for sure.
Because if we allow ourselves to compare, you know, their highlight reels to our regular life, it just makes us feel worse about ourselves. And there's no reason to feel worse about yourself, because everybody has this regular life that we're just posting the highlights, and so why make yourself feel worse for that?
Yeah, I mean, we all fall into the trap, and it's really easy to do, especially if someone is like on vacation and posting all these beautiful European photos or whatever.
Yeah.
It's really easy to look at your life and be like, well, I'm not going anywhere anytime soon.
Right.
Like, but that's one week of their entire year.
Like, let's say that you follow, you know, 400 people, and, you know, each one of those people takes a 1 week vacation a year. That means there's going to be always somebody you follow on vacation, and it's going to make you feel like, I'm stuck here, like, you know, 51 weeks of the year. It's like, well, so are they.
Right.
But you're just seeing people's highlights.
Exactly.
And I saw the angels coming down, and they sang a song, they sang it loud, and I still remember parts of it, and the yellow glorious were lit. Won't you be my guide and let me follow? Can I hold your hand for all time's sake?
Another awesome thing about the High Line is if it gets too busy, it's right by the West Side Highway, so you can just come over here and enjoy the views.
Waited for me, little did we know, I guess it's fate.
So the other things we mentioned about comparison are more like a career or things that people have or what they do. And I don't really compare that kind of stuff to myself. Like, I don't really care like what someone does for a career or things like that. I tend to compare more like traits of people. So like who they are versus who I am, and what they have that I perceive to be better character traits that will make them more successful or more likable or more whatever than me.
It's like they're outgoing, or they're they're able to connect with people better, and so you're like envious that they're able to do that better than you.
Right. And also, like, if you look at someone doing something and say like, oh, well, they can do that because they're that way, I think is a really dangerous thing, because we all have our own unique voice for a reason, and just because they're doing it doesn't mean you can't do it just differently and like with your own flair. I think, like, as far as comparison goes, that's the thing to me that's the most important to remember, because it's like you can't change who you are. Like, you can't. I'm highly introverted. I can't just decide that I'm outgoing and like extroverted, because that's not, it doesn't work like that. Like, you can work on yourself and like make yourself more accustomed to certain situations and things like that, but you can't change like the core of who you are, and there's a reason that you are that way.
All is in our hands.
The last thing I want to say about comparison is that whenever we compare ourselves to others, we're running the risk of not truly fulfilling what we are meant to do.
Right.
Because we, like, even with me, like in YouTube videos or anything like that, it's like if I watch other people's stuff and I compare what they're doing to what I'm doing, I'm like, man, I suck, I should just quit, or, you know, whatever it is.
Or
like,
I need to change my video style in order to do this. And
it's like, you know, yeah, what they're doing is better than me, or what they're doing, like, oh, that's awesome, I need to start doing X or Y or Z.
Right.
And what that does is it runs the risk of me losing my voice, and also could stifle me from actually fulfilling what I need to be doing.
Right.
So we can use others as inspiration,
sure.
but don't compare yourselves to others, because we run the risk of keeping ourselves from truly fulfilling what we're supposed to do.
Yes.
Okay, well that's going to be it for this video. Hopefully that helped you or gave you some insight into comparison, and also hopefully you enjoyed the view of the High Line. It's one of our favorite parks, and I would highly recommend checking it out. So if you like this video, hit the like button, subscribe. If you're not, we make videos every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday on this channel. We also do a podcast every Saturday at podcast.codyjensen.com. It's called Deeply Curious if you want to look it up on any of the podcast networks. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.
Bye.